What's going on, my Geekdanites? It's Adonis. We are back for another breakdown video, this time of the perfected Ultra Instinct form, primarily around his strength. Now, since episode 128, a lot of you guys have been asking me what my thoughts are on his strength. Is he stronger than Beerus now? Is he stronger than Whis now? What that looks like. I'm going to break that down in this video, answer those questions, and also kind of go into this Ultra Instinct perfected form, this mastered form, and see if it is a mastery of Ultra Instinct. Let's get into it. Now, if you guys are fans of geek culture content, make sure you hit that subscribe button and you have notifications turned on so you don't miss any future content. Now, before we get into it, Ultra Instinct the hell out of that like button for me. I appreciate you guys so much. And if you guys want to take that support even further, head over to Patreon or grab some merch off the merch store. Other than that, let's get into this breakdown. So we're going to be breaking this down kind of in three segments: Goku Strength, Beerus, and then Whis. But before we get into it, let's knock out Whis right now. We'll get into more specifics of why I feel this way about Whis later in the video. But no, Goku is not going to be surpassing Whis. No, no. We're not even going to go into that. But I'll give you specifics on why later. But let's jump into Beerus, though, because this could be a lot more interesting than we all had thought prior. So we all know that we haven't fully seen Beerus go 100% on anybody yet. In the Tournament of Power, in Dragon Ball Super, we haven't seen him go in. All we really have to go off of is statements, some of the fights that he's had in Goku in the past, and then if you want to have something that has some kind of congruency to it, something that's going on in the manga. Now, the reason I say the manga is the manga, even though they're two different continuities of the story, it seems like their powers are very scalable to each other. They're very similar as far as their strength goes. Now, case in point will be the Goku Black arc. We see Goku in Super Saiyan Blue Kaioken fighting up against Merge Zamasu, being able to land a couple of hits in. Now, in the manga, there isn't a Super Saiyan Blue Kaioken form. It's the perfected blue form. That's the next level tier of blue that both Goku and Vegeta obtain. And also in that level of power, Vegeta goes up against Beerus and gets one-shotted essentially in that form. So that was just more so of a reference stating that there are some similarities between the power levels of characters in the manga and in the anime. Now, we all know, we've all been talking about how strong Jiren is in the tournament. And I think people take things that, you know, some of the gods say about Jiren, some of the things that the angels say, like Whis, about Jiren, and they only look at it from one lens. And the reason why I say that is this: when we hear the story, the myth of this mortal that a god of destruction cannot defeat, this is something that's interesting to me because most people, when they hear that, they think no god of destruction can beat this guy. And that's not how I hear it. That's not how I read it either. If I'm being told that, Whis obviously knows that this one god of destruction may not be the same level or power that Beerus is, which would then automatically make that statement null and void, saying that, you know, Jiren is stronger than every god of destruction. Two, we've also seen things in the anime that suggest that Whis, one, is not afraid of Beerus and will tell him what he feels about Beerus, and he's done it a couple of times already in the series. So you would think during the Tournament of Power that when Jiren did power up, Beerus would have stated, one, if that character was stronger than him, or Whis would probably have stated that as well, like, oh my lord, he's actually stronger than you. I don't know how these guys are going to end up fighting a character that's stronger than you. They just make it very ambiguous around how strong Jiren actually is. You know, Vermouth is saying, you know, nobody can defeat Jiren. But I think that's because he lost to Jiren. Sometime in the past, he fought Jiren, he was training Jiren, and he lost to Jiren. And I think that most of these gods of destruction have their own confidence, their cockiness about them. They're kind of the pinnacle of power in their universe, so to speak. So when he stated that he, you know, nobody can beat him, it's probably from a personal experience. He lost to Jiren, and now he's thinking nobody can beat him. But let's even take it a step further. When Jiren does power up, and you see Beerus' reaction, and he says, this power is coming from one person, one fighter. And so a lot of people are saying that that's the evidence right there that Jiren is stronger than Beerus. And I completely disagree with that. And the reason being, his survival right now is predicated on his fighters being able to win the Tournament of Power. So if he feels that there is a warrior that they're going up against that they cannot defeat, Beerus will not survive. He will be erased. Whis doesn't care regardless because Whis is safe, period. So again, that's another thing that you would think that if Whis is safe, he would be like, oh, well, there goes our chances. Like, he's a lot stronger than you are, and Goku is nowhere near your level of power. So there's things that are there that you would think the author or the writers of the story would obviously put out there if Beerus was weaker than Jiren. Now keep in mind, I do agree that that was not his full power. Obviously, the first time he let his energy out, I would probably say highball 50% on a highball. Now later on, when he did unleash his power, I still don't think he went 100%. I would say maybe 70 to 75% max. And still, nobody stated anything about him being stronger than Beerus. Not one time. Now, the reason why I'm scaling off of Jiren is because he's the pinnacle, so to speak, at the moment in the Tournament of Power. Now, I do agree, episode 128, Goku's Ultra Instinct jab to the stomach was pretty beast-like. However, that does not mean, again, that Jiren's at 100%. But still, if that level of Jiren has still yet to be a threat to Beerus, we know that the Omen form of Ultra Instinct is not a threat to Beerus either. But I do believe that Beerus is frustrated at the fact that Goku has been able to tap into Ultra Instinct because it's not easily attained by a god. It's not the fact that they can't attain that level, it's the fact that it's difficult to attain. And the reason why I think that is it's something that Whis was obviously training Goku on, so I believe it's something that it's a power or a technique that the angels have mastered, that, you know, they try to teach their gods of destruction, but I really believe it's an angel technique in angel form. And I think Beerus may feel threatened by the fact that a mortal had the ability to tap into that type of technique. And we've seen this from Beerus actually in the manga when he fought the gods of destruction during their preliminary battle for the Zenos, where Beerus gets ready, they all attack Beerus, and he starts dodging, and Goku's like, does he have eyes in the back of his head? And he's like, no, he has the ability to, you know, dodge and react without thinking about it. And Goku was then thinking like, oh, that's what you were talking about prior. Like, oh, is that? And it kind of has a dot, dot, dot. Now, the difference that we've seen thus far is there's no power up for Beerus when he did that in the manga. Now, regardless if they're illustrating that or not is kind of up to the artist. Or maybe that just wasn't the guidance for that, you know, for the technique at the time to have some kind of aura or change of appearance. But the other thing I have is because Goku's not a deity, because he's not a godly or an angelic character, that, you know, the form, the technique actually transforms the body. So that's what I'm assuming thus far, because we don't really have a lot to go off of why these other characters that can use it, like Whis and Beerus, why they don't change form like Goku does. Now, based on the writing characteristics of Dragon Ball Super and Dragon Ball Z, there is a very, I would say, blanket way to predict what's going to happen in the next couple episodes around Goku's strength level in comparison to Jiren. So we know that Jiren powered up. We're probably going to see Goku transform at the end of next episode, mastered Ultra Instinct. We'll get into that in a second. But once he gets to that level, he's going to obviously surpass Jiren in power. Then I think Jiren's going to power up to 100%. Very similar to Goku versus Frieza. Very similar to Gohan when he fought Perfect Cell. Then he died and came back as Super Perfect Cell. I think that's always going to be like the, you know, the big thing that happens. Buu didn't really have that. Obviously, he goes into Kid Buu and he loses his shit all over again. But I feel like the, you know, the writing habits around like these big bads, obviously Jiren isn't a bad character, but a super powerful one at that, that's probably what's going to happen. Goku's going to surpass him, they're going to then power Jiren up to 100%, and they're going to be somewhere around equals, and, you know, probably Goku's going to exploit some of the weaknesses of Jiren with his Ultra Instinct technique. So, with all of this, how does he stack up Ultra Instinct mastered to Beerus? Now, it can go either way, to be completely honest. It depends on how big a power buff Goku gets in the mastered Ultra Instinct form. We know it's a transformation fully of the body. We saw that in the preview, but we don't know what the increase is going to be. We just know where Jiren is at now, and we haven't seen or heard any evidence from anybody on the stage, anybody in the crowd that would suggest that Jiren is more powerful than Beerus. So I do believe that there is a possibility that Goku could finally surpass Beerus, but based on writing in the past, based on the facts that we have thus far from the narrator, from the story, there just isn't enough evidence to support the fact, at least at this point in time, while I'm filming this prior to episode 129, that Goku will be more powerful than Beerus. Now, I know a lot of people are saying, well, if Beerus doesn't have Ultra Instinct, but Goku has Ultra Instinct, then you would think that Goku would surpass Beerus. And again, if Goku's down here and Beerus is way up here, that power buff of Ultra Instinct may not get Goku to that level. It just may increase his power, and he has the ability to move without having to think about it, right? That doesn't necessarily mean that he has the, the power to support it. Now, if everything is going off of what Whis was saying early on about Ultra Instinct, saying that no matter how severe the attack, you can always avoid it. If that was the case, there should be no way that Jiren would have a chance. There would be no way that anybody would have a chance against Ultra Instinct, because nobody could hit you. You would be able to evade any attack. But we know that's not the case. Obviously, in the preview, we see Jiren attack Goku and hit him with an actual energy blast. So I feel like they wrote Ultra Instinct kind of into like a corner. Like, oh, if you're in this form, you can evade anything. But we know that's not going to be the case. There's going to be faster characters, stronger characters that have a more advanced version of that, or just can move faster. So I feel like we can't really take the statements on Ultra Instinct literal, because we've already been proven wrong on that already, based on what we've seen in the previews for episode 129. So some of you are saying, well, you're going off of written things that say this, but this doesn't apply to that. And again, the evidence that we've seen around the writing and the implementation of the writing when it comes to the actionables with Ultra Instinct would prove in the preview of 129 that Ultra Instinct can still get hit. But let's talk about Whis, because I know a lot of people asked me about that, and I was like, no, there's no way. But I do have a theory on why there's differences around the Ultra Instinct of Whis and Goku. Now, I did a video, obviously, I'll leave a link here for that, around Mastered Ultra Instinct and why I think it's the power of the angels. But I'll kind of go into it here as well, that we don't have to jump back to that specific video, but I do go into more detail there. However, Goku, when you look back during the Cell Saga, him and Gohan perfect Super Saiyan. They go into the hyperbolic time chamber, they figure out, hey, let's just stay in Super Saiyan as long as we can, and we'll be able to power up from there. I think that's what the angels are. I think the angels have actually mastered Ultra Instinct, like Goku had mastered how Gohan mastered Super Saiyan, where it became normal. It became the regular level of power, and then they would just power up from there. I think that's what the angels have. The angels have Ultra Instinct all the time. They have the silver hair, the pupilish eyes. They're always at that level of power. When you saw Whis fight and train Goku and Vegeta, he was just doing whatever. Didn't really care. He grabbed the fly, the bee, right out of the air without even have to think about it. He's already in that state already. So he's already mastered it. Now, when you talk about Goku mastering Ultra Instinct in the preview, I think it's more so of actually activating Ultra Instinct. Goku has been in the omen of Ultra Instinct, the symptoms of Ultra Instinct. He hasn't fully achieved it yet, and that's been stated a couple of times by Whis, a couple of times by the Daishenkan. So we know that Goku is not in Ultra Instinct at the moment. He just has the symptoms. But we see in episode 129 that he actually transforms fully into Ultra Instinct. So when it says mastered Ultra Instinct, I think it's more so of he's actually achieved it now. He's actually in the, attack and defense versus just the defensive side of it, or the symptoms of Ultra Instinct. So I do believe that even though Ultra Instinct right now is Goku's max, there is a lot that he can still learn within that, because we have yet to see if there's going to be a time limit, how the Omen had, where with this heat that's been kind of, emitting from his body. We don't know if this mastered form is anything like that. We have no idea at the moment. So we'll kind of wait to see what that looks like. But who knows? We have no idea, but we do know that Whis and the other angels have the ability to do it, and they don't glow. There's no power up. They're just them in Ultra Instinct. So I think that that's the goal. Now that Goku is in Ultra Instinct, like he has the ability to get there, I think that that's going to be the goal of fully mastering the form. Let me know your guys' thoughts on the mastered Ultra Instinct, or the Ultra Instinct form that Goku's going to be achieving in 129. Let me know in the comments down below your thoughts on that. And also, do you think that Goku is going to surpass Beerus? Do you think he's going to surpass Whis? I don't think Whis at all. I think Beerus, there is a possibility that the writers could buff him to be that. But I want to know your guys' thoughts. Let me know down below. And also, if you aren't a Geek Tonight yet, make sure you guys are subscribed to the channel, have that notification bell turned on so you don't miss any future content. But if you guys like this video, hit that thumbs up button, show your boy some love. And if you want to check out my latest videos, the links will be right here to the side. All right, guys, till next time. See you later.